Welcome back to another Prophecy News Update. It is July 9th, 2022. We're going to cover a couple of brief news articles that are pertaining to where we are headed. We all know where we're going to end up, but let's take a good look at where we're headed. I want to cover a couple of quick stories about what's going on. First of all, this week, a couple of days ago in Canada, there was a blackout. Internet blackout, phone outage. In certain parts of Canada, people could not dial 911. They could not get into their bank accounts. And it affected the country's telecommunications. So I got that out of the New York Times. You can check that out for yourself. The article is there for you to see. So these things are going to happen. The things that we rely on every day are going to start to become problematic, and they're going to be used as control mechanisms. All we have to do is look and see what they're doing. Anyway, that's number one. Number two, another interesting article on Fox Business talks about Texas that is under a threat of rolling blackouts amidst a heat wave. So if you thought life was grand, especially down there where it's hot, be aware that rolling blackouts are coming. And you know what? Is it biblical? Well, sure. It's control. It's chaos. It's challenges. We're going to see as we get a little bit farther into this update. America's a little bit buffered from some of these things, but out in other countries it's getting really bad, and it starts there and it works its way in depending on how bad it gets. And they're telling us from our government, from our agencies, that it's going to get bad here. So Texas is under a threat of rolling blackouts from the heat wave. That's something to keep an eye on. Any other areas? Yes, renewable energy. This is also from Fox News. Renewable energy dependence could lead to rolling blackouts in Michigan this summer. So it's slowly creeping into the U.S. Something to keep our eyes on. I know, I'm not actually what you would call a prepper, but I know enough to know that if it's going to rain, I bring an umbrella. So if power's going to go out, I try and have more than one source of it. Anyway, you can read into that what you want. Look at what's coming down the pike and be wise. That's all I can say. They're telling us just plain as day in the news what's going on. What else have we got? This is interesting. This is out of Missouri. The Ozark County Sheriff's Department issued an emergency action order. Why did they do that? Because they will not be able to answer calls to the police department. Why? Because their budget ran out, and they don't have gas for their vehicles. Isn't that interesting? This was effective July 7th. It says they will respond to only emergency stuff only. Anything else that you call, they will write it down, but they will not send anyone out or respond to it. So that's interesting. There's the emergency action order that I post here for you to see. Interesting that things are beginning to slowly in areas begin to unravel a little bit. So just keep your eye open. Pray. It's not something to get scared about, but it's something to notice that society around us is beginning to go through changes. And we have to be wise enough to see that. Jesus said, when you see these things begin to happen. I would say they were beginning to happen. Look up, because your redemption draws nigh. So interesting to see these things begin to fall apart. So this is another article that we're going to get in a little deeper. It's regarding Sri Lanka. I brought this up last time, but the Prime Minister has now declared that the nation is officially bankrupt. And we are going to see, I'm going to try and post a short video of what someone took off their phone, that he has fled the country, and there is some serious riots going on over there. So I'm going to post a video that shows their crowds of people. Crowds of people, and they're storming his palace. They've ransacked it. There's pictures of people swimming in his pool, ransacking his house, taking his food, taking his whatever. and it's getting pretty dire over there and kind of dangerous. So will that happen here? Well, it would take a while, but when the food source runs out here, believe me, people are going to go looking for it wherever they can find it. Anyway, so here's that video. Interesting to watch. And you can see that there is a major crowd. We're talking major crowd. And it's getting pretty dire over there. So I say all this stuff to point you to this. I know if you're watching my other videos, you see that we are getting close to the time when Jesus comes back to take his church off the earth. There is a 7-year period that is written in the book of Daniel that is the final 70th week of a 70-week period that is for Israel. And there was a stop at the end of the 69th week, and there's one more week left that is called the 70th week of Daniel, and the last half of it, last 3.5 years, is called the Great Tribulation. Now that is for Israel, and that is for God to try and make it so bad on earth that they cry out to him in the final stages of human history. But before that happens, Jesus comes to take his people back to be with him. And it's interesting because Jesus quoted about Noah and about Lot, and he said, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. For they were eating and drinking and marrying, giving in marriage." So basically life was going on as normal. And then all of a sudden, boom, the door closes, his people are taken away, and you're left in this final 7 years of chaos with no way out. But it's interesting to note that he said that they'd be eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, and life would be going on as normal. The closer we get in the stages that I'm showing you now to that place where life is no longer normal, is the closer we're getting to that door closing and the final week starting. So I want you to keep your eyes up on him. Encourage yourself in the Lord, because the wrath of God is not for us. Yeah, things might get tough, but God will provide. Be wise in what you do, and keep your eyes, ears open, and pray always, and be strong in the Lord. I'll see you again next time on a Prophecy News Update. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you again next time. God bless.